Good evening. Lovely to be on, and welcome to anyone joining me from my watching on the replay or from my YouTube channel. And today's topic is 3 ways to say yes to yourself. And this is all to do with self-care. And why is it important to say yes to yourself? Because if we don't put ourselves first in our life, we're actually only given half of ourselves to others around us. And as a woman in particular, but also I'm sure this also happens to men, they say yes to other people first in different ways. I find as a female, we say yes to our family and our children, and we are just busy before we can fit time in for ourselves in a lot of cases. And of course this is the same for being a man, but it's just that I'm a female, so I'm identifying in that way. And it's really important to do this, because otherwise we're running around like a headless chicken and we're trying to do all things all the time and please people all the time, do all things. And this is not a system to help us to be feeling good. And eventually we'll go into a place of burnout if we're trying to please people all the time or do things for others all the time, rather than fitting time in for ourselves and making sure that we put ourselves top of the list. It might sound selfish. It's not selfish. It's actually a self-care and an honesty mechanism for yourself. So when you're like that with yourself, you'll be like that with other people. So the first tip that I would have, or the first way I would have, is make sure you carve out some time for yourself every day. Make it an absolute priority that you carve out even the slightest bit of time. In a lot of cases, people just don't have time these days in this society. We feel like we don't have time to do things, time to breathe. And it's like being busy is something to be almost like proud of. But this is not the case. It's absolutely a priority that you try and carve out some time for yourself in your day. 15-20 minutes, whatever you like to do. Sit in the quiet and get away from people who are in your house if you have a busy house, or sit down and read a book, or take some quiet time and sit in outdoors in nature. Or if you live by the beach, walk by the sea, which is beautiful and so refreshing and has scientific facts to basically de-stress you, because the water has this thing called negative ion, so it washes away the negative ions, the fresh air and the water. It's really powerful to be by the seawater, and better still to be in it if you can. So basically that's proven to help reduce stress and really rejuvenate, and very good for mental health. So make sure you carve out time just to be still, just to be quiet, just to read your book, maybe do your yoga, maybe meditate. And it's not a thing where if you put pressure on yourself, oh, I haven't taken my time, then that defeats the whole purpose. It's just try and say, I'm going to make a priority to carve out time for myself. So tip number 2 is to learn to say yes to yourself and no to others. And it can be hard to say no, but you've got to put it a priority, make it a priority, and learn how to say no to other people. And you can do it in kind ways, and we don't have to explain ourselves to people. What's important is that you put yourself, because if you're saying yes, oh, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, but yet you haven't looked after yourself first, you're actually not being honest in that relationship, because we're just trying to please others, because we're afraid of what they'll think of us. And really, this is just something, if that's the case, then the priority for you would be to learn how to accept yourself, approve of yourself, and love yourself, and then you won't worry about what anyone else thinks of you. But this can be a lifelong journey, working on this stuff, because we all come from a place of feeling sometimes we're not good enough, or thinking we're not enough, or we're not doing enough, or that we are just not enough. And this is the number one core of most human beings, the fear of that. Although people may not know it, but this is at the core of most reasons why people are actually not completely fulfilled and happy, because there's something about them not feeling they're not enough in some way or another. And my tip number 3 is have a few moments in your day to reflect on your day. Were you good to yourself? Were you kind and compassionate and understanding and forgiving and gentle with yourself in your day? And if you weren't, you've got to try and become aware of it and say, I'm going to do better tomorrow. And at that moment, forgive yourself for any mistakes you made, or the fact that maybe you weren't nice to yourself, or you spoke rudely to yourself, or you weren't really kind. It's really important that you change any negative thinking, eliminate the negative thinking, turn it into positive thinking. This is absolutely essential for care and saying yes to yourself. Living in a positive mindset. So when you're aware of the fact that you've been judgmental to someone else or to yourself, you say, I forgive myself and it's okay. I'm only human. I'm doing the best that I can. So give yourself a few moments to reflect before you go to bed, before you close your eyes. Just a few moments, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Was I kind to myself today? Because if you're not kind to yourself, there'll be moments in the day where you're maybe a little bit unkind to somebody else. Now, you may not act that way, but in your mind, you might be feeling judgmental towards someone. So we're only human and we all do it, but it's just to try and make yourself aware and say, okay, I forgive myself if I did do something judgmental or I was thinking of somebody in a nasty way. We just forgive ourselves. We're human, everybody does it. But make sure you have your priority as you are number one. Carve out your time for yourself and think for yourself, how was I to myself today? Was I good? Was I kind? And in doing that, you're actually spreading that kindness out. So it isn't just about you, even though it might sound like you're just all about you and selfish. It has the complete opposite effect. The more kinder you are to yourself and loving and compassionate is the way you will be with others, and then it's going to ripple out into the world. So it has a huge effect. So you know the saying, I'd love to change and fix and help everybody in the world. Well, the way to start is with yourself. If you want to help others, you start with yourself. The kindest way you can be and loving to yourself is a reflection of how others will see how they can be with themselves, because they learn from you. And there's an energetic effect as well. So it's not just physical and not just coming from a logical point. It has an energetic effect, rippling effect across the whole world. Believe it or not, it ripples out. So guys, I'll leave it there for this evening, and it's lovely to see a few people on with me today. Aideen, Kelly, lovely to have you join me. And as always, if anybody wants to leave a comment below, or if you want me to talk about anything in particular, let me know. And as always, I offer a 30-minute complimentary coaching call around these topics that I do. So have a lovely rest of your evening, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Bye, guys.